Where do we go from here? Now, if many Nigerians cannot afford to get homes or live in decent homes, what does that say about our economy? And how can we improve this? How can we move this further? We're seeing that the federal government during the last administration under the Ministry of Works and Housing of Babatunde Fashola said, "Oh, we're going to bridge the housing deficit gap." Well, they commissioned a few housing units, especially in the FCT. But how much? How well did that do? And how much more needs to be done? We're going to be talking this morning with someone who understands the sector so well, who's doing really well. He's the convener of the Africa International Housing Show, Barrister Festus Adebayo. He's going to be joining us in the show. But before then, we get into the conversation. Before we get into the conversation, I'll bring you up to speed with some things that have happened in the last in the last 24 hours. So first off, the president met with the House, the National Assembly. All members-elect of the National Assembly, irrespective of the party affiliations, and everyone, and a lot of them. However, it was said that Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara State, who is also jostling for the Senate President position, who has said, "Look, the party cannot dictate for them who would be their leader, and that he deserves to be leader or president of the Senate," was absent at that meeting. Well, it was said one of the things outstanding in that meeting was that some people say the president did not clearly state that they should vote for Akpabio or Tajuddin Abbas, but he said to them, "Look, vote in the interest of Nigeria. Vote for your leader as it is." What would that spell? What would that mean? Would it mean that we would have the kind of scenario that we had in 2015, where some people are going to come out? Now, the people who are still in the race, despite the earlier micro-zoning by the party, all right, the likes of Osita Izunaso of Imo West, Ojus Okalu from Anambra, Abia State. We also have the likes of Abdulaziz Yari, who is also in the race to get the position. Akpabio may have seemed to be the anointed one by the APC, but now also we hear the PDP saying that the majority, which is the opposition, would use their numbers, take advantage of their numbers to elect their leader. Would that mean that they would go against the APC? Can they pull that off? We'll find out in the coming days. Also yesterday, the president signed his first bill into law. The first assent by the president was given yesterday, or signed yesterday. The fifth alteration to the 1999 Constitution, a bill that allows to harmonize or unify the retirement age for judges in the country. And before now, what we had was high court judges retiring at 65, but with this new law, they would be retiring at 70. Unifying that position is an interesting one. So, we'll get to talk about all of those and more this morning, but basically focusing on housing. We told you that the housing deficit issue in the country is one that needs to be addressed, not just in the country now, but we are talking also about Africa in general. My guest will be joining in now. My guest, like I told you before, is Barrister Festus Adebayo, convener of the Africa International Housing Show. He's joining me right now in the studio. Good morning, Barrister Adebayo. Good to have you join us.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
Yes,
you look really excited. The Friday mood.
Yes. Happy weekend, my people.
Good, great. Now let's talk about housing. Let's start off from home. They say charity begins at home. We know that there's a housing deficit in the country to about 28 million units as of January 2023, according to the Federal Mortgage Bank. How do we bridge this gap? Over the years, we've heard, we're going to bridge. Successive governments have said, we're going to bridge the housing gap in Nigeria, provide Nigerians with affordable homes and all that stuff. But at the moment, we don't see it happening. What seems to be the problem?
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Very happy to be here because it has to do with housing.
Mm-hmm.
I do more. Anything has to do with housing, I'm interested. One, to start with, the figures you just mentioned, 28 million. have been subjected to controversy. In the recent, about 3 weeks ago, we had a annual general meeting of the Sheta Afrique, based in Kenya, an international housing finance organization hosted by Nigeria, are the second largest investor in Sheta Afrique, owned by 36 countries. In that meeting, the Honorable Minister, the former Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for another time, said the figures is not correct. And I remember when he came in about 7 years ago, he was with us at the African International Housing Show, where he firstly disputed the figure as not correct. So, unfortunately, the minister challenged that figure, so we cannot be mentioning that figure. But why we cannot be mentioning the figure, it is very clear that Nigeria is battling with huge housing deficit. I don't know why minister is not so seriously concerned about that huge figure. And I believe strongly that if he's seriously interested in it, since he's so concerned about getting us, that the figure is not correct. I also expected the Honorable Minister should have also been interested in giving us the figure as a Minister for Works and Housing.
Absolutely.
He will have set up a committee, getting the National Population Commission, Bureau of Statistics Department, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and even getting the Sheta Afrique to pump some funding to it. And then we know the exact figure of the housing deficit we are having in Nigeria. Planning. We need to plan. You need data. And that is the issue Nigeria is facing in all areas of the economy of this country. We don't have figure, exact figure, correct figure, or anything. And that's where we are. So the 28 million have been subjected to controversy on the ministry. I said no. But for the purpose of our discussion this morning, let us agree that Nigeria is suffering of huge housing deficit. How do you get to know about that? In the morning, go toward massacre in Abuja. You see about people coming to the city. In the morning, go toward Kubwa. Early in the morning, you see about people. As large as that, and the expresses, you see everywhere we be full of. Go towards Suleja, go toward Bagbalada and see what is going on. The people that really need the houses are now the one living in the outskirts of the city. They are living outskirts of the city. They are going. They've all been pushed to where they have the affordability. Because they can't live in the city. And in the city now see empty houses everywhere.
Now that's the question. Why do we have empty houses, unoccupied buildings all over the city, and yet people are subjected to moving to the outskirts of the city? People say, oh, affordability, and some of these buildings are even uncompleted and they left, like that. What are people like you doing to ensure that these buildings are occupied? Because, some of these houses are just rotting away for years, running into decades. Nobody occupies those buildings. Is it investment? Is it wise to invest in such properties and leave them like that?
Firstly, let's start by asking ourselves, who had the owner of those houses?
Very important question.
Who had the owner of those houses? The people we have been talking to, that come, these houses are empty. Put a property tax on it. If you put every property tax, they will have reasons to either rent it out or sell it. Because majority of them, you even see them putting for sale. And when you get there, they will give you one figure that you know that this person is not serious.
But then, speaking of taxes, I know that when you have a house, at the end of the month or year, at some point in the year, AMA comes to you and say, pay tenement rates, pay this and that. Do these people not pay these rates or these taxes?
The tenement rate we are talking about it's too small to force them. The one we are talking about, the suggestion we have been making to them is that at the point of getting building approval, Mr. Francis Nigeria Limited Real Estate Company has gone to development control for a building approval. And on that note, the condition that will be included, that we are saying, insert this condition in your building approval process. And what is the condition? The condition is this building will be occupied within 1 year of being completed. So if that can be there, You get what I'm saying? They already know it. Where it is not completed, you pay so millions of naira annually. They will not keep the building. Because when they see that the cost will be too heavy on their head. But what you see now is the big man lives in Maitama. The other house in Asokoro is being occupied by the Megad. And the guys that really need the houses are the one in the Massacre, are the one in Suleja, are the one in Babalada, are the one in Abaji. No, we cannot continue with that. And that is why the issue of empty houses must be addressed by the incoming Minister for Federal Capital Territory. The issue of empty houses is more rampant, more pronounced in the Federal Capital Territory than any other places. Please take note of that. And on the first question you had, how do we solve this problem? The only way to solve this problem is only simple, very simple and very simple. You, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, can you please stop building houses? You have no business in that. Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, by the virtue of the law, your responsibility should be to formulate policies and stop competing with private developers. As an agency of government, if you want to understand what I'm saying, when the APC government was coming in 2015, there was a promise that 1 million houses will be provided for Nigeria every year. And when the APC finished, the Honorable Minister announced that he has succeeded in completing 2,000 houses. 2,000 houses. And 6,000 plus houses are under various levels of completion. What it connotes is that the APC could not even deliver 10,000 houses for the whole of 8-year tenure. On that note, I am saying the way forward for Nigeria housing problem to be solved is for the Ministry of Works and Housing. Firstly, remove Federal Ministry of Works from Housing. Separate Works and Housing. The man who was the former Minister of Works and Housing was only interested in building roads. He's only interested in building infrastructure. He's only interested in building bridges. He's not interested in the housing. And housing is key to economy. Housing is key to productivity. Housing is key to health. If you sleep in a good place, you live in a good place, the probability of you going to clinic all the time, having a medical challenges will be reduced. And if also sleep very well, me that slept in a beautiful place and the other man that slept under the bridge in Lagos, how do you think we'll reason the same way? How do you think we'll be flowing the same way? And that is the importance of housing. In Canada, in US, I just came last week from Washington, D.C., we have gone to attend the meeting on housing with the World Bank. There is high priority in the government policy for housing. The other time when the American mortgage system had problem, what happened to the economy? Collapse. In Nigeria, housing must be allowed to play a crucial role. If President Tinubu wants to reduce poverty, if you want to touch the life of our youth, the youth that need sense of belonging, the youth that are running to Kenya because they are losing hope in the country, come on, let Mr. President go into housing. With housing, you create jobs, for both former and informal, for the artisan, for the ski and non-ski. Go and see many of those housing estates in your houses here, even in Abuja, when they were building Sun City. The guy that came in with Okada left the place after completion with a car. Even the woman selling food later got a shop somewhere. So that is the multiplier effect of housing. To solve the problem of housing, government should be restricted to formulation of policies, creating an enabling environment. Federal Minister of Works and Housing should liaise with the new National Assembly for the 10th National Assembly and see how they can come up with laws that will help the sector.
So what you're saying basically is that the Ministry of Works and Housing, or the Ministry of Housing as it is, because you want a separate ministry for housing that should play a regulatory role and leave the business of development
to the private sector.
Private sector. Now, that's very interesting. That's a very interesting point you raise, because people have said over time that government has no business in business.
Has no business.
All right, so or running business. So with that in mind. Would you advise the federal government to give the private sector a kind of direction for the kind of housing that they develop? Because what we need basically now is low cost housing for lots of Nigerians who currently they say are living in multidimensional poverty. If we build houses, what we've seen over time is developers build fantastic homes and all that stuff, and they are really expensive. Those who we expect to take those homes cannot afford it, and that's why they're moving to other parts of the city where they can afford. How can we get to that point where developers are able to develop low income or low cost houses for Nigerians?
Let me start like this. I remember the other time I was talking to one of your colleagues in this radio station, on those people you are calling developers that you are inviting to your station. Not everybody you see saying, calling him herself as a developer is a developer. In the recent time, we have so many fraudulent people calling themselves developer. And on that note, a lot of innocent Nigerians are falling victim. And that is what we are asking government to regulate the business of real estate development in Nigeria. So get it right. When we say private sector, we are talking of the credible one. We are talking of the one that have carved niche for themselves. We are talking about the one that have record of achievement, not the one that go to EFCC every day, not the land grabber. You know what is going on in FCC in the area of land grabbing? You know what is going on in the area of land racketeering? I need to tell you how many innocent Nigeria I have used my position to rescue those who have paid 40 million for 45 years. They couldn't locate the land, not to talk. These guys check their phone every day because you know what this criminality. They are not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the credible one to help us solve the problem. You get what I'm saying? So the government have to come out and identify the one that credible, the one that have done good job, the one that have record in Lagos. Because if you look at what Fashola have done, we have private sector who have done better. Go to Lekki houses in Lagos. You see what these guys are talking about. Go to Life Camp in Abuja. You see what these guys have done. You see, so I don't want to be mentioning their name because if I mention their name, it's like selling them on this platform. But I want to tell you, it is not a game of age, but it's a game of record. What have you done before? So the government will take those one. Then you have talked on a very serious issue, which had to do on the prices of the houses. Come. If somebody was talking to me a few days ago, and I was saying, we need affordable housing, not this kind of houses. I said, a few days ago, a civil servant who has spent 25 years in the ministry, one of the ministries in Abuja, to my office and said, sir, I need a house. And I said, madam, how much can you afford? She said, okay, what are the prices? At the end of the day, I found that the woman cannot even successfully pay 50,000 naira in a month. So when you profile such a person, how much is the amount he can afford for a house? He cannot even afford more than 5 million. And if you say 5 million, madam, please, can you give us 10% or 20% of this 5 million? So that we can help you get the mortgage for the remaining. Mama cannot get what we are talking about, 500,000 or 1 million. And that is what called for government intervention. When I say government intervention, I mean subsidy. You are removing subsidy from the petroleum. Please take part of the money you are taking away that some characters are be taking to help us take care of those who does not have affordability. In UK, there's social housing. Government take money to subsidize housing for some people. Old people are provided houses. Some women are provided houses. These are part of the social responsibility of the government. In Nigeria, the private sector don't have that capacity to provide social housing or local housing. But any of them that is interested, oh boy, I want to be producing social housing, 5 million, 6 million. Government should assist them with free land, free infrastructure, and access to ship funds, which will not be more than one digit interest rate. That is the way forward. That's what I'm telling you. For the other one, who are big boys building for the big boys. That's what we always say. You rob Peter to pay Paul. You get what I'm saying? You can rob the big boy to subsidize the poor boy. So these are the areas we are going to use to solve the problem of housing. Come, if you don't solve the problem of housing, your banditry is not likely to rest. Your insecurity is not likely to rest. Because if you have a man who has a house on his head, we think of marrying. And when he has a wife and he has a child, he will not think of joining criminal because we don't want to die. That's important for housing.
You just put forward a very important policy idea as regards housing in the country. If government provides land to developers, you can then dictate to them how much they should be able to price those houses. If you provide certain support for the developers, then you can also say, okay, we have so and so stake in this project, and as such, we're given this houses should not exceed so and so price or cost. When this is put in place, now you need to have you put this forward to government as a policy document to see if it's going to be bought by government, because we know about the Federal Mortgage Bank, and it seems like it's just there, all right, over time, because like you mentioned, some people can't even afford the down payments for the houses that are available. So if this is a good way to go, why don't we put this forward to maybe the National Assembly, and then from there find a way to make it a proper policy that the government would adopt?
I must let you know here that we are doing a lot of discussion, advocacy with the federal government, the one that just left, and we are very privileged at this time that we have a new government that we are talking with on daily basis. We are interacting, and by the grace of God, the next Africa International Housing Show, which is coming up in July, is going to be another, because we are going to bring all of them in, and then we're going to use the opportunity to teach them, those political office holders, because we need them. We need to arrest them. We just need to arrest them. We just need to arrest them. The professionals cannot do this job alone. We need to get those guys in the National Assembly. We need to get those guys who are responsible for one implementation or the other. I just mentioned to you about the infrastructure. Majority of the houses that private sectors developers are selling, but as far as they provide the road, the primary, the secondary road, and they also provide the primary road, they provide light, they provide all these things, they transfer that cost to the buyer. Because they are profit-oriented people, they go into that business for money. And that is why I said, there was a time in this country that we had the El-Rufai in the Federal Capital Territory, who was just opening roads in Masaka, opening road, where you have this military, I don't know, that place around there, where they have Navy estate, military estate, around that area that's not coming toward Akpo. That is the man. That is El-Rufai that opened Life Camp, where you have 9, he open all of them. So it make it easy for whoever that want to have investment in that area in the real estate to just build this estate. But after all, a road, a very big road appetite to what you're saying. So these are the areas where I say the government must be involved. Government must have interest. As at last week, is it this week, when I saw the governors meeting with Tinubu, I couldn't see any seriousness that they want to do affordable housing. So, as we have said, we are talking with them, we keep talking with them, and part of talking with them is my coming here. Some of them are listening, you get what I'm saying? In the next few days, you see me on TV, then in July, you see me bring all of them physically. And I want to tell you every day, we are sending memo to them, we are sending WhatsApp message to them, we are telling them this is what we want, we are telling them what to do. So if you require us to also organize a protest, we go protest and go to National Assembly and take over the entrance. And say, how we are saying, Nigeria need affordable housing. You don't give our youth hope and you think they will run out of the country. You refuse to give them hope. That is why they are running. I was in Kenya a few days ago. I was in a supermarket and I saw a guy speaking my dialect. And I spoke and I said, what are you doing here? And the guy said, he was explaining to me, yeah, around the country. I said, what are you doing? He said, he's looking for a job. No, we're not going to take that. The government must look into the situation of our youth. And I'm saying one of the best ways to arrest the unemployment in this country is to go into housing. Create a big housing system. In fact, you can match housing with agriculture. What does that mean? What it means is that the man who is in my village in Osun State, instead of him moving to Abuja, let him create a big farm in my state. Let him be working there. As far as he's working there in that state, and in the money he's going to work, you see where a project is going. And they say, you guys that are in the farm, when you have a good productivity, after 6 months or 7 or 1 year or 2 years, they will give you a 2-bedroom there. I can assure you with that housing they are looking at, they will do more. On that note, you can use housing to motivate people into agriculture. You get what I'm saying? And on that, as it was in the World Bank report I saw this morning, that Nigeria is a problem. Yeah, so we need food shortage. On that note, we need to use housing to push agriculture. When you use housing to push agriculture, you will reduce rural to urban migration. Because what is killing the cities about causing the problem of housing shortage is that people, when they graduate, they go to Lagos. When they graduate, they go to Abuja. When they graduate, they go to Port Harcourt. That is why those urban cities are having problem. The level of the housing shortage we are having in the city, you cannot see it in the rural areas. In rural areas, some houses are kept there. If you go to my area in Anambra, you will see that many of those houses are kept there. The houses are only open only in December when the guy come home for Christmas or New Year. So the level of effect of housing shortage in the rural area is not as much as in the city. On that note, you can devise a way to address that in the rural area, create a big farmland. But for you to do that, you must address banditry. A few days ago, you saw what happened in Zamfara.
Very interesting.
Housing can solve banditry.
We'll be talking more about the Africa International Housing Show coming up shortly. Stay with us right here on your radio experience. You can count on, you can always count on us to bring you those who, say it the way that you want. You need to hear it and know it. Keep it with us.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
At Stella Maris Nursery and Primary School, we do not only encourage our kids to dream of success, we teach them to get up every morning and make it happen. With over 25 years of stellar educational magic, dedicated and qualified staffs, conducive and serene environment spread across Abuja, you can be sure that quality education is at your doorstep. So, what are you waiting for? Make learning fun and exciting for your little ones today. The dates for entrance exams are 24th June and 12th August 2023 respectively. For more enquiries, call 0809 037 3727 or check us online at smsabuja.com. Stella Maris campuses are at Area 1, Life Camp and Wumba, Abuja.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Thank you again for staying with us. This is Eagles Outlook on your radio experience. You can count on, on Fridays we make it about you and those things that really affect you as a person, as an individual, and as a citizen of this country. My guest has been Barrister Festus Adebayo, the convener of the African International Housing Show. He's been phenomenal on the show this morning, describing the situation as we have it in the housing sector in this country. And he knows what he's saying just by listening to him. You can join the conversation now. Feel free to jump in with your 2 cents and make comments and also ask questions freely. He's an expert, he knows it, so he should be able to answer your questions. Joining 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. Before I bring in the callers, I need to know, what inspired you to get into the housing, especially convening the African International Housing Show?
Yes, as a lawyer, when I started my career after my living University of Ife, I myself suffer a problem of accommodation in Lagos. I remember I was living in one rural area after Penn Cinema, and I also saw a good number of people who have left university for several years and could not even afford the house. So I felt this is part of my area I think I can go to promote housing, access to housing. Government of the country have the right to provide for their citizens. The welfare of the citizen is the responsibility of the government, says the Constitution. So I feel that is one area for me to go. When my colleagues, some of them are talking about human rights, I say, better I go to housing rights. And that's what I've been promoting over the years. I must tell you, it has been very fantastic. I've assisted over 20,000 Nigerians to own a house.
That's a lot of number.
Yeah,
Over 20,000 Nigerians.
Over 20,000 Nigerians. So even when you bring a political appointment for me, I'm not interested. I told the event that they brought it, I'm not interested because I run my ministry. I tell them I have a ministry. I've created a ministry. And in my ministry, I'm touching life. And I want to keep touching life. But come, if you go to some areas in Abuja, in Lagos, the UN representative came to Nigeria. He invited me. I met him in Lagos. I got to know that some people are living on the sea, on the water. In Lagos, I'm telling you, some people are living. You see where some people are living. Some people are sharing 30, 20 people are sharing one toilet. So they have to kill. No, this is unacceptable. This cannot continue. A good government must care for the welfare of its people. Leave that. Go to the other side of people working as a civil servant. You say civil servants are stealing money. How would they not steal money? Somebody has worked for 25 years. He doesn't have a house. And you are retiring him. What do you want? No. Provide them a means of owning a home. Improve on the mortgage system. We are not interested in talk. We're interested in action. We want to see this thing. I can assure you, you can use housing to bring down the level of corruption. If a man, after working for 10 years in the ministry, know that there's a hole for him to get money from Federal Mortgage Bank, I remember the effort I made in even enlightening them. A good number of them does not even know what is national housing for. They don't even know. They know that they deduct their money at the end of the month. They don't even know how to access it. And after 25 years, they are retired and they return back to their village. Then after 5 years, you hear they have died. You get what I'm saying? And then you want their children again to come and join the civil service. Make it attractive. Make it interesting. That is what we are saying. That is the argument we are saying. Our mortgage system is not working. You can give it a try after this program. Go to the nearest mortgage bank near you and talk to them and see what they can do for you. Somebody is just not interested. There must be a political will. If governments have the political will to drive the mortgage system, it will be better for it. All over the world, houses are not done on cash and carry. They are done, people own homes. Through what? Through mortgage. You pay for a period of time.
Absolutely correct. Let's bring you in now. 09073530044 and 09087668888. We're talking housing in Nigeria and even Africa. My guest is the convener of the African Housing Show. He is Barrister Festus Adebayo, joining us in the conversation this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Prince Zion.
Good morning, Clement Zion Prince. Welcome.
Your guest there is articulate, and I love him. And it's interesting to hear that Fashola said 28 million housing deficit is not true. I wish that he had told us which number should be true. As opposed to me, that is actually an understatement. I know a house in Lagos, Yaba area, almost a mud house, though built like an upstairs in the olden days, like 1725 building. Where the number of tenants in that house are not less than 108. And if they queue for toilets here or bathroom, if you don't come out around 3:30 to take your bed, that the wherever you are going, you are bound to go late, would go slow. So do we say such persons are housed? You have so many densely populated areas like Lagos. To go to Mushin, Oshodi, you see this is even the not two dilapidated buildings like Ikeja, Yanopaja areas. Go to Ibadan. Go to so many big cities. Many people are not housed. They just come out from shanty places and people think that they're coming out from home. So that 8 million is understatement. And who is the cause of all these things? It is the big politicians, the rich men who have hijacked our commonwealth and are using it for themselves. I know a situation in Abuja here where one Aboki man was put as a megad in a house in the central place in Abuja here. Big mansions of so many flats. After so many years, it doesn't appear that the owner even knows where he house is anymore. What the Aboki man did is to begin to put tenants. Boldly, he put tenants in many of the flats. Sometime over 15 years or so, the one man just came, maybe he was elected by the owner who was tracing whether the man's house is one of those places. Evidently, they came across the house, they didn't went again. Immediately, Aboki man knew that the bill I say they don't find the house. So now, he has a jeep, the Aboki man has a jeep. From that process of that house, the man just simply walked into his car and drove away. One of the Aboki man's houses in Power Line in Dusi that I am aware of. So many of these big men don't even know their houses anymore. When they hijack our money, they build and build. Some politicians have not less than 100 houses in our area. But many of the people who are contributing to the commonwealth of this country, the workers, some of them are, if you know how many people are squatted, you can't call those people housed, for goodness sake. So 28 million is an understatement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clement Zion Prince. Some Nigerians do not even accept that 28 isn't even the number like Clement Zion Prince. Let's bring in another caller. Hello, good morning.
Hey, my brother, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Bibi bless you.
My name is Bibi bless you. Well done, no.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this story. When I see, What I want to propose now, my brother, if you enter this Abuja now, you walk out where you go see house where they just build. Some more complete, some more completed building, some they don't computer. If you look at, you go see all this house now there. Is it me say, and if you know the people they get and a big men they get this house, and people they are suffer to rent house. Even though they say person go let us 2 million, 4 million, 5 million only 1 year. Can you imagine? You go ask yourself how much are they paid their salary to if person want to rent house now you go rent 5 million for 1 year, for 1 year. Can you imagine? Why they cannot put this house for rent so that may they cheap for people to rent? Now you go see common man now. Person where you dey earn 100,000 or 50,000, you go feed them now. Might go rent house of 5 million or 2 million. Why they cannot do this government? Make them maintain this house so that may they cheap. That is why people continue to see. If you are working for government now, you want to get for town, you know how much you can see afford. Check how much they pay you. Then to even rent house for 5 million for 1 year. No. 1 year be like say if you just wake up now, 1 year don't reach. But if they can reduce price and they can reduce the material where they say they build house now, I think Nigeria it will be progress. But it check the Abuja house is too many where people know they. Waiting be the cost. People go see money, go take a build house, abandon house. So big men now they get money, so senator they get money for account. And when they say they use people name, open money they enter. Now, when I check back where all the accounts now where me they not be your name, now another person they pay money extra. Somebody they use another person account, you they take and they receive money. They cannot fit check all these things so that men are bring things. Money where in their hand, make they bring a come out so that make they put up all this house where no compute so that people go they rent and cheap. Even better than to abandon the place so that he go favor for common man.
Okay.
God bless you.
Thank you
God
very
bless
much.
Nigeria.
Blessing. I appreciate you. Always a pleasure having your thoughts in. Barrister Adebayo, let's look at the fact that over time we've talked about this housing issue, and it's been a recurring decimal that every government that comes in kind of makes promises to Nigerians and says we're going to provide affordable housing and the likes. But my concern right now is as regards, what the National Assembly had, deliberated sometime last year as to whether rent should be paid monthly or yearly. Like Bibi Blessing mentioned earlier, if accommodation is yearly, we have an advanced claims where people pay, monthly for apartments and all. Should we look in that direction?
Firstly, let me make it known to you that if you teenage, we have conducted a survey to seek the view to know how Nigerians feel about paying rent monthly or whether they would prefer annually. From the result of our survey, we found a good number of Nigerians prefer to pay their rent annually.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because of it relieves them. Know that every month they have to struggle with some other bills. So when they pay rent annually, they know the time to pay the school fee. They know the time to pay other responsibility. So that gives them a lot of. Then let us go to what you say about National Assembly. I think I was with some at the Senate, my distinguished senator, Smart at the We were together when I raised the issue of housing. And luckily for me, he went to the National Assembly and he raised the issue. And when he raised it as one area, I am not in agreement with him. And that is the area that have to do with controlling the rents. You only control what belongs to you. You don't control what does not belong to you. The houses that are empty, let's release them into the circulation. Let us see the effect that one is going to give, rather than bothering yourself on the rents of Mr. Francis in area 3 or area 4. Let's start from increasing the supply. The law of economy said that once there is increase in the supply, you know what I'm saying? The prices is likely to be down, cool down. You know what I'm saying? But what we are having today is we are having increment in the population. We are graduating students every year. We are reproducing every year. People are going to marry every year. Children are increasing every year in geometric progression. And we are not building houses, not even in arithmetic progression. That is why the issue of housing deficit is huge. I saw that person saying that he's sure that it's more than 28 million. I just don't want to mention figure. But I want to say there's huge housing deficit because we are reproducing, we are graduating, we are marrying, but nobody is building the houses. So the same one is what all of us are managing. We are not even producing the houses at arithmetic progression. So the government doesn't have power to say it wants to do that. What the government should do is what I have just told you. And let me use this opportunity to call on the new government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that with the issue of subsidy that you have removed, we can see that the prices of housing is going to go up, meaning the affordability gap is going to jump up. So a lot of people are going to go into poverty or lose hope of owning a home. On that note, I'm calling on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You promise Nigerian incentives, palliatives. Come on, we need palliative for housing. Nigeria need this housing. Otherwise, with the latest development, the prices of iron rod have gone up. The prices of the cement company once told me that Nigeria economy does not follow the rule of demand and supply. I said, what do you mean by that? He said the rule of economics say the higher the price, the lower is, the higher the demand. Meaning people are still buying the cement, no matter the price. But those who are buying the cement are those who have the capacity, and their percentage is very small. Oh, so what of that majority of Nigerians that are wallowing in the poverty? Some who does not even have a hope of owning a house in their life. That's why I'm calling Mr. President. If something is not done in the area of housing, the housing gap will jump up, and Nigeria is not going to be good for it. It will bring a lot of social vices, social criminalities.
Well, I said, let's take a message from Chooks now. Chooks says, greetings, Ihanacho. Salutations to the barrister. You talked about the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly when you started. I'm laughing in Greek. Expect fireworks on Tuesday, 13th of June. Also expect to see security personnel everywhere around the National Assembly. As regards housing, the 10th National Assembly should enact good laws. Chooks there. We'll bring in one more caller and then we could try to wrap it up. 09073530044 and 09087668888. Send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 09097054450. Now let's talk about the Africa International Housing Show. It's coming up in July. What should we expect this year? Last year, we saw a congregation of stakeholders in the housing sector. This year, I'm hoping that it's going to be bigger than even the last one.
Yes, Africa International Housing Show for this year will start on the 15th, on the 24th of July 2023 as usual. There's no other location we can use except you carry us to Eagle Square because already the International Conference Center is too small for that event where you are having over 20,000 people coming from different parts of the world. So on that note, this year we focus on beyond rhetorics.
Beyond just talking.
Beyond talking. Give us the houses. That's our focus this year. And already we have told all the people that are involved in the new government, they have to be there. We're going to have a session for political office holder that we can use to reorientate them. They can use to let them the implication of not doing anything on housing. So you let them know, because if you don't do this, this is what is going to happen. But if you do this is what is going to happen. We have a session on that. And by the grace of God, Africa International Housing Show this year is partnering with International Finance Corporation, IFC. They'll be having a session. We are also going to promote green housing, hedge building this year. And beyond that, we are going to partner with Shelter Afrique. Yeah, the other time during one of the course of the program of the IHS, we call on Shelter Afrique. Come. What have you done in Nigeria? They came to complain to us about our naira. It's lost in value. And if they give us a loan in dollar in Nigeria, it's going to be difficult to pay. We call for them to Nigerianize any loan they want to give to us. They should not give us loan in dollar. They've listened to that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So that's one of the biggest assessment of African International Housing Show. Beyond that, we have also called the pension people to give us use pension to help people, pension fund to help people. Today we are talking of RSA, so we call on them, they're giving us. So we're going to look at RSA again, because some people who have gone for the RSA to get money for housing, and gave us some complaint. And we have invited the PENCOM to come and join us, Central Bank of Nigeria to come and join us. All of them are going to be with us. Federal Mortgage Bank, we also complain with them. We have invited them. We have a session. We are bringing the civil servant. We are bringing the civil society, every Nigerian to join. Ask them questions that what a complaint you have about them. Africa International Housing Show is a unique platform where we bring in the buyer to meet the seller. It is a place where we bring people with buying capacity. It is that place where we promote professionalism. Let me tell you here, not every estate developer you see on the street have the requirement to be at AIGS. For you to be at AIGS, the developer, can you please show me your building approval, the title of that land that you have? So we are not aiding. We are not going to aid any criminality by any way. Because that is that place where different Nigerians come to own a home of their dream. I just to mention to you that we have built a platform to help over 20,000 Nigerians. How many of those ministers, governors have even helped over 20,000 Nigerians? So if we have created a platform to have assisted over 20,000 Nigerians, come on. You get what I'm saying? So this year, huge. We are bringing people all over the world. Why do we bring in people from all over the world? Because we want to. I was in World Bank and I saw a country that said in the last 1 year they built 100,000 houses. I met the MD of the Housing Corporation in Egypt. And the lady spoke to me and said, Madam, how many houses have you built this year? They said, we have built 15,000 houses. I just laughed. That 15,000 they built between January and April or May is what Nigeria could not build even in seven years. So what are the magic behind these people? So we have called all of them from Asia, from other countries, to come and share their success story with us. That is internationally. We have also called Nigeria local one, the developer that is doing fantastically well, who have built over 5,000 houses in the last 10 years. Come and tell us your success story. How have you done it? What are your problems? Why have you not been able to do it? On that note, we will history the challenges they are talking about. So if you are profiling the ones that should work with the present government, we'll be able to pick the best out of them. So that is the situation for AIGS this year, where they're going to have people from over 31 international speakers. Already, I can tell you the house is full. Many home material company, many roofing company, many paint company, real estate company. So it's a place where you go to. You want to buy a property. You see the developer. And you have the developer. Do you have any mortgage? Yes, I have mortgage. My mortgage bank is Infinity. Then you see the Infinity there. So you meet Infinity. So you connect the three. The buyer, the seller to you, and the company that want to provide mortgage. So you seal deal there. You seal deal. That is the essence of that program.
Very well said. And now, Nigerians, you've heard it. You've heard it. It's quite unfortunate we can't take any more calls. We'd have to wrap it up now, but I'd love to say a big thank you to you. Thank you for what you're doing for Nigeria and Nigerians. Barrister Festus Adebayo, convener of the AIHS, that's the Africa International